Good morning. It's day 191. Spent a good portion of yesterday's evening and a little bit this morning kind of planning out the next 3 weeks. Jesus. That did look like a bear, right? In the rear view. Anyway, the next 3 weeks. So this town I'm about to hit in about 2 miles an hour. Gorham has a super Walmart. It's way on the other side of town. In fact, it's halfway between Gorham and the next town, so they share the Walmart, I guess. But I think that's probably my last super Walmart type thing. And then one of the upcoming towns has an IGA, but most everything else is going to be like country market kind of resupply and maybe an outfitter in Monson or something. But what my plan is to buy resupply for make sure I have enough food for the next 3 days, which will get me to Bethel. I have no idea what the options are in Bethel, but I'll have to resupply in Bethel. And then but the main thing is to put together a box of 8 days of food, 8 days of meals to ship to Monson. And that would get me through the 100-mile wilderness and on up into Baxter. And with my intention with that, because I can't carry 8 days of food, just to split that up for a mid 100-mile wilderness resupply. And I know you can set that up. I don't know the details on that, but that's one of those things I will have to figure out when I get to Monson. And I'll probably do a 0 in Monson. That might be my next and last 0. That's in 2 weeks. But that means I'm gonna have to spend probably half of today shuttling around Monson because I need to get to Walmart, I need to get to the post office, I need to get to the hostel that might have my vegan food that I had directly shipped there from Amazon, but whether it's there or not is not reliable. Anyway, that's the plan for today. Also, part of the plan is after Gorham is to get back on trail and hike another 6 miles or more. But anyway, more later. I just tuned in to say I'm standing on the 1897.4 miles from Springer Mountain, Georgia spot. I don't see any markers, but this is 300 miles to Katahdin, to the summit. And if I maintain a 14 mile per day average, I can do that in 3 weeks. And that's kind of my intention with the way I was putting together the plan last night. However, I do need to allow for at least 1 0, like I said, and also the unforeseens, such as getting resupply a handful of times, 2 or 3 times between here and Monson, is always inevitably will take more time and effort than intended. If I can do it last thing at night or first thing in the morning, get back on trail within reasonable time, that's awesome. I don't think it's ever quite worked that way. It always ends up taking half a day, and then you're chasing daylight get some decent miles. Speaking from experience, anyway, I'm wondering if I should put together a little 300 marker, or as soon as I do, I'll find one around the next corner, behind the next rock. Anyway, I feel like this hat looks like the kid from Up, except it's high vis, but it's like the Cub Scout colors. The blue, mainly because of the blue brim. They had another version of this hat that was solid yellow, or the brim was yellow also, but it was a formed brim, and I couldn't flip it. I need to be able to do this so I can see in the woods. There we go. That's the first one of these I've made personally. Is it upside down? It looks upside down. I think it's just the mirror effect on the camera. Hey, 300 miles. So this is the quantum vortex. They're converting it into a hostel, I understand, but right now it's just camping. Look at this house, though. That's a pretty sweet house. Leaving Gorham, or hiking through Gorham, doing the roadwalk portion. I was able to get a shuttle ride from the Quantum Vortex hostel campground back there into the Walmart. Did a lot of shopping, and then a ride to the post office where I shipped most of that to Monson. So I will be fully supplied, or mostly supplied, for the 100-mile wilderness. And now I'm back on trail. All right, back into the woods. So this is somewhere in the middle of a 1,800-foot climb, but it's been rather gentle, especially by last week's standards, and it looks a lot like this the whole way. Well, for all intents and purposes, this is the summit of Mount Hayes, at least as close to it as we're getting on the trail. AT goes off to the right, 3 miles to our campsite. Well, I decided to stop here on the summit and take a break, have food. I'm not even going to call it lunch. It's 3:20 in the afternoon. But yeah, it's gorgeous, gorgeous day. I think I'm backlit in this shot, but this is where the trail turns east from north. So I've got 3 miles eastwardly bound to the Trident Call campsite. Well, I spent way too long on the summit because I had a good signal and it's gorgeous, and I started by eating lunch and then ended up reading some emails, and I'm looking for the way off this summit. Reading some emails and getting bogged down in like the circular customer service loop, trying to deal with an account and blah blah blah. So an hour later, I'm now headed towards the campsite that's 3 miles away. It's now 4:15, so it'll be like 6 when I get there probably. I don't really give you too many clues on where the trail is. Occasionally there'll be a blaze. I feel like I've got peanut butter in my beard, I don't know. Washington back there is getting smaller and smaller with each step. But that's Washington back there. All right, here we are at the tent site. Well, here we are at Trident Call campsite. It's not a shelter. It has a privy and a bear box and tent platforms. Not even platforms, but tent sites like the dirt kind. And I'm the only person here. I'm quite surprised. And there's a designated water source and all that. All right, here's my setup. It's pretty tight between those trees. I've got like 4 to 6 inches of string between the tip of the tarp to the trees, but it's working. There's a big boulder right there, so that'll serve as my my table, I guess. My blue fleece is sitting there right now, but I'm gonna go get some water. It's starting to get dark already. One other hiker showed up. The guy I bounced around all the way up here. I passed him twice, and he passed me once when I was sitting on the summit. By the name of Titanium, due to the material in his knees. So yeah, I guess it's time to get water and then start fixing dinner before it gets too dark.